right, welcome back, welcome back. All right, so we're getting ready to speak with the last BARDJOHN of Calypso, and that's Kurt Allen, and of course, he had a daughter, Chocolate Allen, and he will tell me about where she is and how she is. You remember that situation, that story? All right, so as soon as we're ready, good morning and welcome, Kurt Allen. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Pleasant good morning to you and the entire Tobago population.
Very good. When you say you're the last BARDJOHN of Calypso, what that really means, I listened to you that you're not afraid to tackle the issues, and then you had controversy with why you didn't get in because there are those who believe that Calypso should be censored. Let me get a perspective on that, given that you were fearless during your...
Well, the last BARDJOHN, a lot of people think that is BARDJOHN, right? BARDJOHN. That BARDJOHN goes head on and this BARDJOHN is a BARDJOHN, which has a different meaning altogether. Yes, you approach things head on, but head on. Your head on shoulder, you think, focus, you're and you stand up for the rights for the benefit of the people. In my case, as a voice of the people, as a Calypsonian, I stand up for the people.
All right. So you are clear in your mind that Calypso should not be censored. The last issue that dominated the Calypso fraternity was maybe a deliberate attempt to silence Calypsonians from speaking or treating with the issues, political or new last year, your song last year was dealing with that whole question of everybody should get pong in Calypso, regardless. And you said Eric Williams, right down to, and so now it's your turn, and you were talking about Dr. Rowley. Let's talk about censor in Calypso. How do you feel about that going forward as you contend or as you are offering yourself to represent Calypsonians? Should Calypso be censored?
Well, censorship for Calypsonians is nothing new. When you look at the Calypso and you go back to the 1890s, it's easy to tell that they would send a sergeant or a corporal to the Calypso Tents to listen to what Calypsonians were saying in order to censor them. The Roaring Lion had a situation where his album Netty Netty, that entire shipment was thrown into the sea because of the same censorship. But Calypsonians have a history of censorship. So it's nothing new, but it's just that this generation needs to understand their history so that they understand the DNA that is involved. So when you think about Roaring Lion, the Black Star and the Valentino, and what they would have faced, in this time we now have to be prepared to stand and honor that legacy by rejecting any form of censorship.
Okay, so we can go back to the heyday of the Calypso tent. I can tell you because I've been there and I know. When Calypsonians used the art form as a weapon, and I could call some Calypso names that were famous for attacking a particular set in our community. And they said, look, we're not going back there to be insulted. They would sit in the front row and were more or less attacked because it was, should we say, it was politically motivated. And Calypsonians sound as though they've supported particular political parties. And the tents have died. Let's be honest. I mean, we could go back to when Spectacular used to reign, when Sparrow and the Young Brigade, when Kitchener Review. Let's talk that. Is the art form, and we're talking what you would do to bring it back. So this is where should you win? Let's put that into perspective. Has the Calypso tent era gone? Is it gone or is it still alive?
No, it isn't gone. It isn't gone. It needs proper restructuring and management. When you talk about those old days of the tent and the crowds, there's something that we always miss, is that the Calypsonian was always the one to provide the entertainment. The Calypsonian was not the one responsible for bringing people to the tent. That was the job of the promoters like Jas Panton, Frank and Claude Martino, Randy Glasgow, William Monroe. Now today we see an absence of that element from the tent, where the Calypsonians are the ones who manage the tent and also promote the tent. In the history of Calypso, in the glory days, it was a totally different way. So I am proposing a collaboration with some of the established promoters who have already demonstrated the ability to promote Calypso. There are also new promoters, for example, the Stink and Dirty Fed, those young promoters like Hoppy. We invite them and explain, the situation is clear. The Calypso tent culture needs that type of help and needs that vibrancy re-injected. And we're going to talk with them and get them on board in understanding that we need their help in the promotion of the Calypso Tent. They of themselves have no financial risk. They are not asked to put in any money to pay for the sound system, to pay for the band, to pay the artists. So their risk is basically zero. When before, they would have had to come up with the money to pay the artists and to pay the venue and all these things. So that if we get that collaboration going again, where we have the promoters doing what they do, and the Calypsonians doing what they do best, then we could see a reignition of that Calypso tent flame.
So tell us, all right, so Ainsley King has a legacy, the last of which he took you yourself and many others to the Apollo. The last that we know Calypsonians have graced international stages was when Harry Belafonte, Melody, and them fellas took the art form of Calypso was, and of course we could go back to rum and Coca-Cola and so on. Within recent years, Ainsley King has taken Calypso to the Apollo for the first time. What do you offer differently? And let me ask you, when you experienced that, because you too was one of those who were taken there, what was the experience like, and did you feel as though, yes, Calypso finally reaching someplace?
Well, the experience was very good. I mean, you had the best of the best on the stage and coming together, but there's a big misconception. Calypso has been to the Apollo several times. I myself performed at the Apollo in the 90s with the Roy K. Stars, David Rudder. At that time, Steve Harvey, the great Steve Harvey, was one of the MCs. You had people like Loving Gear, Designer, even Twiggy. So that is a big misconception that Calypso has gone to the Apollo for the first time. It has been there on many occasions. This is not the first time. I have been part of that in the 90s with Roy K. So what I could say is that it was a great effort. It was led by Marshall Montano, who was the main headliner, and it was a wonderful experience. Hats off to all the people who participated and the organizers.
And what is it that TUCO need? Rescuing, should we say, or is it in a good place and you're just going to take up the legacy? What do you want to fix? You said on previous interviews, accountability and transparency. Those two words, they sound popular when somebody campaigns in any election. However, what discrepancies that you would have found that needs treating with should you hold the reins of leadership in TUCO?
Well, the membership itself is disgruntled in terms of we are waiting for a financial audit for the past 3 years, and there is no response on that whatsoever. There are a lot of other incidents, even to discuss Carnival 2026. We haven't gotten an opportunity to meet with the executive. Members have been asking questions, no answers forthcoming. We have seen where, even recently, we've been asking for a membership list so that we could know who are the members in preparation for election. We have written to TUCO, no response forthcoming. So I think there's a frustration with the membership and a disgruntled feeling towards the leadership of TUCO. And that is what propelled me into even accepting. You know, everybody who have been asking me to volunteer to myself to lead. I decided to lead after the many complaints, the many disgruntled members.
There's a new generation of Calypsonians now that the Sugar Hollows and the Crows and the what have you, we may never see them again in competition. Is that deliberate? Was there an agenda as to just maybe focus on the new generation? Let's speak, and where do you stand in that regard? Is Calypsonians who are more or less seniors in the business, we are not seeing them on the competitive front. Is that a good thing?
That's a natural progression. I smile because as a member of the Lord Kitchener Calypso Tent, you would see people like the Lord Pretender, the Mighty Terror, and a host of the Calypsonians who represented a particular generation. And I used to ask myself, why aren't they competing? I think Father Time does something to not just the acceptance of the artists, but the artists themselves reach a level of maturity. I remember Black Stallion telling me, just in the 2000s when I was asking him, well, how come you're not competing anymore? He said, listen, I cannot, this is his exact words, I cannot put my hand in the same hat with people like you and Roger George because he felt that he was a senior Calypsonian then and that he should just back and make a different contribution. I think many of them do the same thing because I don't think that they lose their sting or their ability to compose, their ability to perform, but we have seen a simmering. And I have also reached that point where I'm volunteering myself now to represent Calypso in a different way. So if I'm successful at the TUCO elections, I myself will withdraw from the competition, not because I think that I'm not good enough or I am burnt out, but priority and you know, different headspace, different vision. So my vision now is to serve, and I believe that many of these senior Calypsonians have taken a different psychological outlook towards the Calypso.
All right, so when is the election, and what are you appealing for from Tobago Calypsonians?
I'm appealing from Tobago Calypsonians not to see themselves only as Tobago Calypsonians, but as Calypsonians. We belong to the creed of Calypso. And we need to look at what is best for Calypso. I understand the sentiment and the attachment that Ainsley, Mr. King, our president, is from Tobago, and he would have done a lot to help some of the Tobago Calypsonians. But I know from where I said there is much more that can be done and will be done with Alan as president. There are some exciting plans. I plan to visit Tobago within the next week, meet with the Calypsonians. I can speak to them directly. And then, of course, those plans will be transferred to the media. But trust me when I say some new, innovative, exciting plans for the Tobago Calypsonians, which will include, we have heard the cry of the semi-finalists and Tobago Calypsonians making finals and those kind of things. I want to institute something that is concrete, that we know, okay, every year a particular amount of Calypsonians from Tobago will be coming to Trinidad at the semi-final stage to represent. Now that can happen from the Tobago Calypso Monarch, where you look at the top 5, I'm just saying, you look at the top 5 and you say, okay, the top 5 will be at the semi-final. And there will be other opportunities for the other Tobago Calypsonians who present themselves to the judges, whether in the tent or unattached, to also make it to the semi-final stage. And as I said, there is one particular plan. But when I arrive in Tobago, I intend to meet the A.K.A. And once that is successful, I will unveil the plan for Tobago Calypsonians, and they will see the benefit. And this is not Philip Allen is better than Mr. King who has a better plan. No, this is a vision for Calypso that I think that the Tobago Calypsonians will embrace because they will see the benefit, the long-term benefit as well.
All right, I like what you say there, Calypsonian, you know, Tobago Calypsonian. There are varying zones in TUCO. You have the North Zone, you have the, all over, and of course, Calypso History Month. What needs to be done from that perspective? You're an intellectual, that's how I see you, given the type of material that you put out there. Have we done enough? Do we need to do more in terms of bringing the information about Calypso during Calypso History Month in October? Or do we need to change, well, it's October, some part down in the month. Do you want to change the time for Calypso History Month? Do you think that emancipation is a good time given the struggle of our people and what Calypsonians did to bring the message of all the issues that Africans have struggled and so on? Let's speak to that. What needs to be done from the educational standpoint with History Month?
Well, emancipation, we don't want to tie both things together. Emancipation is too important. And Calypso has contributed to the emancipation process, so we are already a part of that. I believe that October, which leads up to Carnival, is a perfect time. What I want to believe is that in the past, I've been a long-standing member of TUCO, and there was a drive and energy behind Calypso that seemed to have disappeared with the passing of Brother Resistance. Because during that time we had the gala, and there was a lot of different activities in Calypso History Month. That is one of the things that the Calypsonians are complaining about as well. That we need to be more visible. We need to have a greater impact. Because having Calypso History Month and saying is one thing, what about the impact? One of the most important things in my manifesto that I'll be releasing is an educational tool called the Calypso app, where you can go to this app. Researchers, students, whether it's tertiary level, primary school level, or just interested in Calypso, you can go to this app and find out anything you need about Calypso. You ask any question. Who's the Calypso King of the world? Who was the first Calypsonian? Who are the authors that write books about Calypso? Just ask any question on this app that is called Calypso. That is actually going to be launched next. So that app itself is an educational app, and that is something that we are bringing brand new, utilizing AI, utilizing innovation in terms of digitalization of the art form and embracing technology. So that is one of the main things. That education app is called Calypso, and it will be launched next week.
All right. So the election is what date again?
They have the president has not called the election. We are waiting for that word. But I am ready. It's called tomorrow. I am set and ready.
Very good. All right. So you gave us your vision. I like the idea about the app and so on. But I want to ask you: does Calypso have a season?
Calypso has no season. We have made it seasonal, and that is not something that happened now. When you look at the history again, a lot of people would have known that on Ash Wednesday. That's it for Calypso on all radio stations, all frequencies. The journalists wouldn't write about Calypso. Those days are behind us. There's no season for reggae. There's no season for hip hop. There's no season for rap or Trinidad. How could there be a season for Calypso? Calypso is the voice of the people, and we relay stories all year round. I think that the practitioners, the Calypsonians, need to embrace that concept and release music in the year and not just during Calypso.
So this is where your leadership comes in. You and I are on the same page. Calypso have no season. What do you intend to do to bring Calypso to make it more relevant, more present? I don't want to say relevant, more present during the year. We spoke about October. But before October, you have February, and then thank God we had the Tobago Carnival in October, where the Tobago Calypsonia would be showcased and so on. But during that space, Calypso has to take a back seat, and then we embrace all of it. The soca artists go get a little blind because you have a party and so on. Is there a vision, as far as you're concerned, to maybe merge the two? You don't want to have a party where people jumping up and down, and then you come and sing a slow song that really kills the energy. However, is there in your vision to keep Calypso, and I say in the word, relevant all year through, and what would be that vision?
Okay, my pillar point manifesto that you could go to and see is to have a Calypso tent operating all year, the entire year, which will attract the tourists who will be coming into the country and stuff. But how do we do that? How do we get people excited about it? I, as a former soca monarch, understand the need to bring in what you have called the soca artists, especially younger ones who could bridge that gap, who could understand that the mighty Shadow, mighty Sparrow, Lord Kitchener, David Rudder, just name them, the mighty Duke, all Calypso monarchs who sang serious social commentary. But they also won the road march competition, means that they had festive music as well. So there was a balance between the consciousness and the festive type of music. I'm saying that we are seeing people like Young Brother place third and fourth in the competition and is very successful in the soca scene. We have seen Michael Tisha in the finals. We have seen back in the days soca star like Ronnie McIntosh, Super Blue. We have seen Benjai. All made the finals of the Calypso Monarch competition. So now there's an influx of youth. My aim as a former soca monarch is to speak to them because I understand the challenges they face, why they refuse to come into Calypso. So I feel that I can be that voice to bridge the gap and bring them into the field so that we get a unified presence and we don't have soca here and Calypso here. We didn't have Shadow here and Sparrow here. We had all of them. Calypso Rose won the road march and she won Calypso. We need to get that education out to the young ones so they understand the balance in the culture and where the music came from and their contribution that we expected them to make so that the music would survive in the future.
Mr. Allen, where is the Calypso?
I can explain one of the ways of doing this. We intend, as again in the manifesto, we intend to meet with people like Leston Paul, Pelham Goddard, Cal Beaver Henderson, Kenny Phillips, to help record some of these young artists. And they have already, some of them already agreed to provide recording facilities to record a new crop of Calypsonians for the upcoming season.
All right. Where is the Calypso museum. When you go to the airport and you're going to some foreign country, there is a space in the airport. You can see sparrow. There's a whole museum there with sparrows, and I think you're familiar with what I'm talking about. That's the International Departure Lounge there in Piaco. Outside of that, so that's for sparrow. Everything that is about sparrow, you could walk in there and you learn. Where is the museum with all these names you just mentioned? The shadow, you name them, the Stalin, the Kitchener. Is there a place tourists can go to learn about these melody? You name them. Is that available, and is it that part of your plan going forward as part of your vision?
What I have in my manifesto is a ripe banana plan and a green banana plan. The ripe banana is what you want right now because you're hungry, you want something to eat right now, so we have plans for that. As part of the green banana plan, we have the establishment of a Calypso Museum, we have the establishment of a Calypso Entertainment Hall, and also the establishment of our own headquarters. Now, this is not something new. George Marach has been championing the cause for a Calypso Museum. We have Mac Morris from the South Central Zone, who has been championing the cause for a museum. And the cause have gone on deaf ear. Kurt Allen as super president. That call will no longer be on deaf ear because I understand the importance of preserving and maintaining that legacy, that rich legacy of our icons and legends. So that will be something to the forefront as part of my green banana.
Okay. All right. So you're waiting the date, and we want to wish you all the best. And but you're on the ground here in Tobago, meeting with the Calypsonian. Have you in your campaign gone to all the zones?
No, I'm meeting in Tobago Calypsonians within 2 weeks. It could be a week and a half based on the plans. I'll be on the ground in Tobago, meeting the Calypsonians, the stakeholders. I'm also seeking an audience with the Tobago House of Assembly, because some of our plans will need a collaboration between stakeholders and official entities, so that I will be on the ground, meeting the Tobago Calypsonians. I've been speaking to them on the phone. I've been getting the feedback, and I think that I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to feedback and sharing my vision for TUCO and the membership.
And your slate, who is your vice president? Could you just give us a run through your secretary and so on?
No, I have no slate whatsoever. I am prepared to work with whoever the membership elects. Even if this current executive, including Mr. King, I could work with them. I could work with anybody. So I'm not. You see, it's not a case where it's like a political party. They have their organization here, and this side have their side. We have one membership, and I encourage anyone who wants to serve. I applaud them and wish them all the best. So I'm not going with a slate. I'm supporting all the candidates. Of course, I will have when I see a manifesto on your presentation, I will personally make a choice to vote for X, vote for Y. But I am not endorsing or embracing any candidate because they are all my friends. I believe they all have a vision and we are all looking to achieve the same thing, the success and progress of Calypso. We may have different ways of doing it, we may have different ideologies, but the bottom line is that we are all members of the same organization. And once your goal is Calypso, because the name of my team is Team Calypso, not TEAM, THEME. So once your team is Calypso twice, we represent the same TEAM team.
Excellent.
Your team will be on my team.
All right. So you had a daughter, Chocolate Allen, was her name? That was Chocolate Allen?
Yes.
Where is she, and what is she doing these days? Huh?
She is, not was.
Well, I mean, no, I thought it was just a sobriquet. But where is she? Is she still in Calypso? I don't know.
Well, she's still in Calypso in terms of Calypso is part of her DNA. But as you know, Chocolate was homeschooled, so it's a bit, in terms of someone who never went to school. He's now teaching physics, chemistry, and math at a high school in Massachusetts.
Oh my goodness!
High school teacher in Massachusetts. And that is the direction she's heading, but she still does some music. She has her own band in Massachusetts, and she's still doing her music. She was here with me 2 weeks ago on vacation, so she's doing her thing.
She was homeschooled by you?
by me and her mom, both of
Wow.
us. And we had two special tutors who were her godmother and godfather, Dr. Phaedra Pierre, and the late Elton Nelson, who teacher from the Crep Anglican School, who passed away a couple years ago. And they would be responsible for the extra lessons that we make sure and put a marker to see the progress and understand what we are doing it complements what the system may be teaching in terms of the standard. So she was always well balanced in terms of education was her parents, and the two main people would have gone to come for extra lessons, Mr. Elton Nelson, deceased, and Dr. Phaedra Pierre, both are good parents.
Excellent. All right, so Mr. Allen, and people, just me listening to you sing your songs tells me where your head is, and I can see you based on the material that you put out. Yeah, so that's why I know that your daughter was schooled by you. I could tell that. Anyway, all right. So we look forward to you. All the best to you. In closing, what would you want to say to your all that you want to vote for you when election time comes?
I want to say that Calypso is in a state. If you believe that the direction Calypso is heading and the support that we get from the national community, you're satisfied with that, what can I say? But I have been in this from 1993 as a member of TUCO, but I started in 1981. And from what I've seen then to now, you cannot be blind to the fact that there's a decline in support, there's a decline in participation, and it's only going downhill. We need new, innovative, creative leadership. This is not about this is not ego, about who you like and who you dislike. Mr. King is our president. I respect and love him. But the time has come to put Calypso first. It's not about personality. And my allegiance is not to Calypso, to an organization. My allegiance is to Calypso. And I am prepared to do anything in the best interest of Calypso. And I would like you, the population and the members of TUCO, to do the same. Look at where the art form is heading, and ask yourself, are you comfortable with this type of direction? Are you comfortable with this type of leadership direction?
All right. I want to ask you.
Once you search your conscience, then I think that you will come up with the right answer.
All right. Just talk about who is eligible to vote. You must be a Calypsonian. You must be registered with TUCO. And I understand the election date has been, well, there's no election date, and however, registrations are closed. Guide me accordingly.
That is one of the letters that we sent to people asking for the reopening of the registration process. We understand that registration will be closed at some point, but there is supposed to be an announcement to sensitize the members or potential members that registration is open from this time and closes at this time. A lot of people have complained that when they went to register, they were told registration has been closed. And we are written to them to ask for that process to be revisited, so that they can open the registration process and give a clear timeline as to when this is going to be closed. And to compound it, if registration is closed, why is there not a list of the membership so that potential candidates can know who they're speaking to? You ask if I met with the North Zone or the South Zone. I don't even know the membership because they may know who were there before. But the new ones, we don't know who they are. We've been hearing that people are registering all over the place. Even last year, the last election, there was accusations of CPEP voters, European voters, policemen, and the leadership had no problem with it. And that brings a lot of questions, because you ask who can be members of TUCO. Is it just Calypsonians to the wider public? These things need to be answered. And the best person to answer these questions is the leadership of TUCO. And we are calling for answers, and we're not getting any answers. We're not even getting the courtesy of a meeting. A lot of this could be avoided, I may not even be in this race if the members were satisfied with the communication. Even if they do not agree with you, you open communication to have that dialogue, and somebody might say, I understand what you're saying. Oh, that is why. But if you're not getting that opportunity to even speak, this is not a private company. This is public. It doesn't belong to a private individual. So I'm saying that we need to open communication. We need to have better dialogue. After the election, we need to be friends again. Calypsonians. We have to smile again. If the Calypsonians are not smiling and are not happy, the music we produce will not be smiling or happy music. and there will be a further decline in the participation with the public.
Okay.
So
All
we
right.
need to first be happy and smile.
All right. All right.
But
Well, we
you
want to
just
thank
continue
you for being
smiling
here.
now.
Yeah, man, I keep smiling. And thank you for being here this morning. All the best to you. And yeah, we'll chat again.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. All right, so that's good. Alan there, he is contesting, well, he's offering himself to take over TUCO or to win the election when the date is called, and of course, to succeed the sitting president, which is Ainsley King. All right, so we wish him all the best there. And of course, glad to know that Chocolate Allen is doing well out there in Massachusetts. And all right, so we go now for the break.